A good evening to you and welcome to NTV Weekend Edition this Saturday. Certainly hope you've had yourself a good day. Here is what you can expect in the next news hour. Tonight, a blow-by-blow account of the drama at Joffrey Omega's funeral.
I'm requesting that leader kindly to give us time to bury our hero.
The COVID containment versus culture headache, both at the funeral and at the safari rally, which saw traffic from Nai to Vasha and beyond. Plus, another promise on BBI ahead of the 2022 polls.
We machine wala soka ka wala socha. Wala socha. En machine mapeg. Mokeno ka go kori kucha. Ka go kene kucha. To porgene je marenga renga kamano. Gekia gi mabiro. Nitie kala usi mabiro madisha hinya. Ulo tsunami.
But Kiunjuri vows not to let BBI allow President Kenyatta sit in State House a day longer.
There is no extension of the term of governors, MPs, or the president.
Supreme Court is his next stop. Also tonight, in 2 years, 9 girls, teens and preteens abducted, defiled and mutilated.
Tulikuja kupata Mary kesho yake kama huyo mtu amemuua na amemweka kwa hizo magunia.
Natamani nikipata bunduki naweza washuti. Sababu inaniuma mtoto wangu.
Police stand accused of doing less than desired.
Guys are being killed day in, day out. Na polisi wamenyamaza ni kukunywa chai na bia na kukaa chini.
The bizarre killings at Moyos Bridge. And
tafsiri hii maisha kule D ni mazi ninalia nkitumia MIC.
The troubles that lead many into drug abuse and the freedom of getting out.
Wakati nilipunguza naona nimefanya maendeleo kubwa.
Ilikuwa ni struggle badi baby wengine wetu tukaingilia katika mihadarati.
A government promise to aid in footing bills.
This is Weekend Edition with Olive Burrows.
I have the pleasure of Flora Atieno's company. She is our sign language interpreter. COVID-19 restrictions were completely disregarded as mourners in Siaya County flocked to view the body of the former Game Member of Parliament, Joffrey Omega. Police were forced to use tear gas in order to keep those who are seeking to force entry from the venue. Anita Nkonge with those details.
Rest in peace, they say, to the departed. But how about the ones who are left behind? Well, for many who flocked the late Joffrey Omega's final journey in Siaya County, it was far from that.
What is the problem?
In fact, COVID-19 measures were cast aside as chaos reigned. Police were forced to use tear gas on mourners who were demanding to view the body of the late legislator at the Ndori Primary School before the official funeral. According to the COVID-19 protocols in place, only 50 people are allowed to attend a funeral. But the people here had other ideas. In fact, there were allegations that the chaotic incident was stage managed.
And if you look at them, it's like there were people who were hired. Because there were almost 5 Voxy vehicles, which had 5, almost 50 youths that were apparently hired. From the look of things and what was happening showed me that there were people who were hired by a certain politician just to disrupt the function of our hero, Joffrey Omega.
Midiwo died 2 weeks ago at the Nairobi hospital after he suffered a cardiac arrest.
We are not happy. We are in a lot of pain because it will take a time to get somebody like Joffrey.
Anita Nkonge, NTV.
That's one example of COVID-19 flouters. Here is another, but this time it's over bread and butter as the ongoing COVID-19 restrictions continue in the 13 Western region counties. Many who've been left within the zones have found it increasingly difficult to make a living and as a result have sought to cross over to neighboring counties. Hundreds of business persons in Bomet County have resorted to crossing over into the neighboring county of Narok, for instance, due to the imposed COVID-19 restrictions on the Bomet side. The traders usually have a major market day on Wednesday and Saturday, but the concerns are rife over the disregard of containment rules as they go about their business.
Tunapata shida, wengine tumekuwa na malon, mayuthi hatuna kazi, tumejaribu bahati kwa mambo na masoko hivi. Tuone kama tunaweza pata at least kitu kidogo mwisho wa siku, lakini mambo imekuwa ngumu sana. Serikali ya county inatufinyilia, soko inafukuzwa, watupei notice, watuambie anything. Ni kuamka asubuhi mnapata maaskari wamejaa kwa soko na marungu. Mnaambia hiyo leo mwezi tandika, amjui mtenda wapi.
Wakubwa wenye wanatufungia soko hawaangalii tunakula nini saa hii. Kama mimi for example kwa bande yangu niko na mtoto mwenye anaingia form 1. Hii form 1 ni kwa hii mwezi, hiyo next July wanaingia shule. Sasa wametufungia na tulikuwa tunataka tutayarishe kitu kinaitwa school fees. School fees itapata mtu kama mimi.
Kama mimi mwananchi mnyonge, ningesunguka hii masoko ya kwamba tumekutana na corona. Corona iko na katika nchini kote iko, lakini Bomet County kwa nini Narok? Kwa sababu they are neighbors. Mahali ya Narok inaendelea na soko, vitu vingine vinaendelea.
Staying with the COVID-19 watch, various residents of Kisii County are still disregarding the COVID-19 containment rules despite the rising number of infections and the fact that the county is among the 13 that have been classified as a COVID hotspot. Our reporter Bernard Ojwang with those details.
This is Kisii Town's central business district. Residents and traders are going about their businesses as usual, and amid the activity, COVID-19 containment measures appears to take a backseat.
Kuna social distance kabisa, hakuna kabisa. Sio mambo ya saa moja hata wangeondoa kabisa hii. Hakuna mambo ya kusema mjana ndio corona inasambaa. Unaenda tunaenda ATM pale, hata hakuna sanitizer huko ndani kwa ATM. Ukienda unatoa pesa, unauza, ukitafuta sanitizer hakuna.
Kisii is among the 13 counties that listed a COVID-19 hotspot zones. The county government has spelled out measures to control the spread of COVID-19 within the county, but residents are still living in fear despite disregarding the protocols.
Sasa kuna uoga mingi sana. Hata sisi watu wa pikipiki sasa, hata ukipandisha mtu lazima muambie asanitize kwanza, akae mbali kidogo. Ukimpeleka ndio labda utajaribu kuokoa maisha yako na ya familia yako.
COVID is killing people in the villages. I think that has changed. People have realized that COVID is everywhere, and that alone has assisted in passing the information to them.
They gather on the streets, some hold hands, name it. But when police and county government enforcement officers are cited, they disperse, but gathers again later. This has been flagged a contributing factor to the rising number of COVID-19 infections in the county.
It's still a major problem within Kisii town. This county is Kitutu Chache South. This is where it is still leading in terms of cases, followed by Nyaribari Chache, which also touches town. So most cases are still within town.
Following the increased numbers of new COVID-19 infections is being recorded here in Kisii County, social distancing, especially here in Kisii town, remains a major challenge. Something, according to locals, the county government needs to do a lot of sensitization to save the situation.
Lakini sasa vile imekaa hivi, hiyo corona unachua ni ugonjwa mbaya. Sasa ni kubeba customer mmoja na lazima afae barakoa.
Bernard Ojwang, NTV.
Vroom, vroom. The Safari Rally cars may have been zooming away in the championship race, but everyone else was zoned off in one place for many hours as traffic came to a standstill, and that is in and around the Soisambu Conservancy. That was the venue of today's third leg of the World Rally Championships. Bridget Ngana has those details.
The Nakuru-Nairobi highway and pockets of traffic jams decorated the ordinarily busy highway. Most of these cars were ferrying fans to the spectator stage on the third day of the World Rally Championships. Those who made it into the Conservancy say it cost them their sleep.
The traffic was much. Even before 4:30, before curfew hours, even there was traffic. So it's very tiring, very exhausting.
I woke up at 4:30. I beat the traffic. It took me about an hour to get here, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it.
But it's better you leave early. If you leave late, I don't think you'll get in too soon. The event should have been started if you leave quite late.
The endless traffic stretched across the Great North Road, including here in Mau Summit, where truck drivers say they had to stop for 2 days due to the rally interruptions.
You see, Kapsabet to Nakuru, tukiwa tumemaliza, hata tumemwaga tumerudi. Na gari yenye tuko nayo ni alone. We have to pay. Watu alone waelewi na serikali ielewi. Serikali inataka burudani, lakini sisi tunataka tujenge uchumi na tulipe loan.
Tukikimbia hivi tukikaa chini. Atunoni juu ya hii barabara.
Prior to the event, the government published a Gazette notice warning the public of road closures during the event, which ends Sunday. It is almost a wrap for the World Rally Championships here in Nakuru County, with only 1 day left for the competition, and this will also see how the local team will perform in this international event. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
I wonder if Salim Swale eventually made his way to see the rally. He was caught up in that Nakuru-Naivasha highway traffic, but I'll catch up with him a bit later. Tonight, unfortunately, we add 18 fatalities to the COVID death toll in the country, and the Ministry of Health says that all the 18 are late death reports having occurred on diverse dates between the months of March, April and June. This brings the total number of COVID fatalities on record to 3,574. We had another 508 infections to the COVID infections tally that now stands at 182,393. And this is out of 6,664 samples that were tested in the last 24 hours, a sample size of 7.6%. At present, there are 1,037 COVID patients admitted to hospital, with 101 of them in ICU and another 6,750 recuperating at home. A fortunate 539 are on record as having recovered in the last day. This brings the total number of recoveries, ladies and gentlemen, to 124,392. And as of Friday, a total of 277,312 had received their second and final dose of the AstraZeneca COVID vaccine. Time to cross over from matters COVID to matters politics. Expect a political tsunami ahead of next year's general election. It's not the first time he's said it, and that is the Orange Democratic Party leader Raila Odinga. His comments come as the Jubilee Party legislators play down the recent decamping of members of Parliament Gathoni Wamushoba and David Gikaria to DP Ruto's side, saying the ruling party is still intact and a force to reckon with. NTV's Seth Olale with tonight's political beat.
Well, there's been something going on between Jubilee and ODM.
Exactly a week after Jubilee Party's Secretary General Raphael Tuju announced that the ruling party was crafting a coalition with ODM, Raila Odinga has told Kenyans to expect a major political formation. He was speaking during the funeral of former Game MP Jakoyo Midiwo in Game, Siaya County.
Ni machine wala soka ka wala socha en machine mapeg mokeno ka go kori kucha kago kune kucha to porgini jema renga kamano gikia gima biro nitie kalausi mabiro malicha ahinya ubiro lokre tsunami nithiro iye
Raila was confident that the Building Bridges initiative will be upheld by the Court of Appeal.
We are confident that through this competent team, we are going to succeed. That BBI is going to move forward.
In Kiamba, Kiambu County, a section of Jubilee Party leaders said the ruling party is still intact despite the recent move by...
Isipokuwa hii mdomo wanachapa na propaganda mingi ambao wako naye, watuonyeshe barua ile wameandika na wamepeleka kwa registra, ndio tuone ni kweli wametoka chama ya Jubilee.
Heard maybe we are joining with ODM. And if ODM tomorrow goes to the other party, what will you do? Defect again? It means hauna msimamo.
The leader spoke in Ruaka while campaigning for Kiamba by-election Jubilee Party candidate Kariri Njama. Seth Olale, NTV.
The Service Party leader, Mwangi Kiunjuri, has insisted that President Uhuru Kenyatta should pack and go when his term comes to an end in 2022. He further said that his party will move to the Supreme Court to seek an advisory on the rumored plan by the government of the day to extend its term in office, and that being pegged on the BBI report. NTV's Melita Ole Tenges delves into those intrigues.
Mwangi Kiunjuri has warned elected leaders to abide by the constitution.
They must vacate office on the 9th of August next year. Until extension, there is no extension of the term of governors, MPs, or the president. The constitution is very clear. And very soon, we are going to move to Supreme Court. We are going to move to Supreme Court for advisory.
The Building Bridges initiative report, which aims at expanding the executive among other policies, continued to spur debate.
Let us learn the art of political compromise. Hiyo ndio inaendesha Kenya yetu mbele. Let us accept that we need one another.
Kuna other issues that are more important than BBI. What is important today is the government to ensure they give money to the governors, so that governors can pay suppliers, governors can pay contractors, and money can get to our pockets.
Although President Uhuru Kenyatta has stated that it is time to hand over power to a different community, leaders from his backyard have a different opinion about who will succeed him.
As much as we have led for many years, we still have a part in the coming government. And we cannot just watch. Tuseme kwa sababu tumeongoza miaka mingi hatakuweko.
It's clear the mountain will continue to rumble for quite a while. Melita Ole Tenges, NTV.
What say you? Do you think the former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, Mwangi Kiunjuri, present TSP party leader, could be making much ado about nothing? The Twitter handles are at Burrows and at NTV Kenya. Away from the politics of the day, mental health experts are calling for the integration of the treatment and prevention of alcohol and substance use disorders into all levels of healthcare services to enable many Kenyans access them. And as the world marks International Day Against Drugs and Illicit Trafficking, our reporter, Gabriel Kudaka visited some reformed addicts in Tarbo, Uasin Gishu, and brings us the inspirational tales of how they conquered their battle with the bottle and are now leading meaningful lives.
John Wandumberi tends to his vegetable farm in Tarbo, Uasin Gishu County. He is grateful that his life has turned out this way after years of struggle with drug addiction.
Ningelikuwa bado navuta bangi. Mimi saizi kama John singelikuwa kwa mradi kama hii.
John, 29, is among the 900 recovering addicts who are enrolled in a community rehabilitation program spearheaded by Ampath in partnership with Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital.
We help people to reduce their intake and to also just
become more responsible in their families.
Members meet once a week to encourage one another along their journey to recovery. They have a system to monitor their progress to recovery.
Na wale ambao wako na withdrawal syndrome tunahakikisha tunawafundisha ni nini wanapitia so that waweze kuelewa.
Hakuna mtu alikuwa anakuja kwangu, lakini wakati nilipunguza naona nimefanya maendeleo kubwa. Nimefunza watoto wangu wenye wako wakienda shule.
After conquering alcohol and drug addiction, David Mushia of Kenya Prisons was promoted to a sergeant. Mushia is also a mental health and addiction program coordinator in Central Region. He uses this platform to reach out to fellow officers and civilians serving sentences.
With the awareness that we are creating, there have been a change of perception with issues to do with mental health and addiction. And we are continuing to embrace all the evidence-based treatment and prevention programs that have been really helpful.
As the world marks International Day Against Drug and Substance Abuse, stigma and discrimination are among the major concerns, but there are others who have made bold steps to conquer the challenge.
Tafsiri hii maisha kule D ni mazi ninalia nikitumia MIC. Watu wanasema wewe ni superstar, lakini unakuwa umetembea kahasla au wengine. So ilikuwa ni struggle, badi baby wengine wetu tukaingilia katika mihadarati na mambo kama hayo.
Access to medication for those suffering addiction is still a major challenge.
I think the other challenge as well is NHIF covers for just a one-time, one rehabilitation session or period in a year. More can be done because relapses are part of the journey of addiction. We are saying it's a chronic illness. We should not limit the number of times someone has access to treatment.
It is therefore appropriate to engage in discussions about how government can complement these efforts in order to expand the reach of these services and scale up their efficacy, including the possibility of subsidizing cost, which remains prohibitive for a substantial proportion of needy cases.
The National Authority for Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse is now targeting learning institutions.
We have done surveys that clearly demonstrate that there is a growing problem in our institutions of learning.
Mihadarati ambayo tunazungumzia kwa sasa ni bangi ile inatoka nchi jirani inaitwa Shashamane.
This year's theme is Share Facts and Save Lives. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
More on NTV Weekend Edition on its way. To a story that warrants urgent attention from the authorities, Moyos Bridge has become notorious for the abduction and killing of girls, and that has caused concern, understandably, among parents and guardians. Now, 9 deaths have been recorded by the police in the past 2 years. Lois Wangwe reports on the bizarre Moyos Bridge killings and the growing concerns, as I mentioned, among parents, guardians and the society at large on the safety of their children at Moyos Bridge.
The busyness that is the hub of many small businesses at Moyos Bridge is telling of a society keeping its pace in the poll to make ends meet. The reality of a challenging economy is among the driving force behind the diligence of the business persons and residents at large. But under the cloud of busyness is a subtle fear and concern, that of mysterious deaths, more aptly put, bizarre deaths, and not just of anyone, but of young girls. And this has been the situation for close to 2 years now. In 2019, 3 girls, Lucy Wanjiru, Emma Wanyota, and Nancy Edome, were reported to have been murdered brutally so. In 2020, 5 more heartless killings, Grace Njeri, Stacy Nasibo, Mary Eloza, and 2 other girls whose families sought anonymity were also murdered under unclear circumstances. And now, in June 2021, Linda Jerotich has become the latest victim. The numbers are rising, but the unraveling of the morbid mysteries remains unfulfilled. Why the references to the words bizarre, brutal, heartless? Well, all the 9 girls who are between 10 to 20 years were first abducted. Then their bodies were found with evidence of having been sexually assaulted and mutilated. These are statistics which could easily pass for a big news story, a hot topic of discussion on and offline. But these were lives. People with families, loved ones, people whose kin do not just see statistics, but deaths of not only their beloved daughters, but of a part of them. The pain and frustration of the residents of Moyos Bridge often come alive after the discovery of the killings. This is the picture of the latest uproar from the residents here after the murder of Linda Jerotich, the 9th Moyos Bridge girl to be killed in a mysterious manner in just 2 years.
From the look of, she suffered a lot of violence, and we suspect that she was abused before being murdered. She had injuries almost everywhere in the body, but all her parts were intact.
Amjui kulea watoto wenu. Wewe mwenyewe enda utafute mtoto wako atapatikana tu. Kama huyu mwenye ameuawa wazazi wake waliambiwa, enda utafute mtoto wako atapatikana tu.
Sijui ndoa nani, because girls are being killed day in day out. Na polisi wamenyamaza ni kukunywa chai na bia na kukaa chini na kufuatilia mask, lakini hii kazi ya mauaji hawafuatilii. Mtu msichana aheshimiwe, apatiwe haki yake.
Na ukiangalia ni watoto wa rika moja, between 12, 13 hapo hivyo. So there is something common. Iwezi kuwa ati ni kitu ya kawaida. Mbona jaisikia kuna mama merepiwa ama nini merepiwa ni watoto. So kumaanisha kuna kitu inaendelea kwa hii town, ritual mbaya sana.
Many other times people have said that a parent should never bury their child, more so at a young age. But this tragedy is the reality for some parents here. Sharon Sakwa's heart is still fragile, wounded, and bears pain that words cannot aptly express. Her child was murdered last year.
Wanaua watoto stai, watoto wenye wangali wadogo. Mtoto mwenye hajui chochote. Kama wangu alikuwa 10 years alikuwa hajui chochote. Wakashika mtoto. Wako na dawa yenye wanatumia sababu akishazalimia mtoto anawafuata tu. Wangu alikuwa mtoto mwerevu sana hata nilishanga kabisa. Mtoto wangu alikuwa anadanganywa na mtu. Na hakuna siku mtu anamwambia pitia huko apite.
This mother claims the suspects who abducted and killed her firstborn girl are not strangers to her. They were allegedly arrested and detained for some time, but were released on bail.
Natamani sana waende kwa sababu roho yangu inaniuma hata nikiwaona. Natamani nikipata bunduki naweza washuti. Sababu inaniuma mtoto wangu.
They are walking free has angered her and sparked a sense of hopelessness in her quest for justice.
Mwenye mtoto wangu ni jirani tu, si mtu mbali. Wote mpaka wenye walikuwa na connect mpaka simu akipiga mtoto ndio anatoka, kila kitu nilijua. Lakini nilijua kama mtoto ashakufa, sikujua mapema. Sasa wakati nilitoka Bungoma nikakuja, hao watu wametoka. Walisimama pale nje na gari wakinipikia oni pip, yani nione wametolewa na hakuna kitu ndafanya. Sababu walisema money talks.
She has since withdrawn her participation from the case, citing the police moved to set free the suspects she had identified as having had a hand in killing her daughter. The police said the matter lacked sufficient evidence.
Juzi Friday tena mtoto mwingine amepotea kwa hii area. Wamempata Jumanne kama ameuawa, the same tu vile waliua Mary. Huyo mtu anarepu na ananyonga. Kwa hapa Moi karibu 9 ni mtu tu mmoja, ni kama ni mtu mmoja au ni grupu. Tujui ni maneno ya makanisa, ni maneno ya nini, hatujui kwa sababu wanatoa watoto sadaka, hatujui ni nini.
Joffrey Omega is yet another pained parent from Moyos Bridge who agreed to share his story. His daughter, Mary Eluza, was abducted in December 2020. Her lifeless body would later be found, and the police confirmed that she had been sexually assaulted and her body mutilated.
Usiku hatukupata Mary, tulikuja kupata Mary kesho yake kama huyo mtu amemuua na amemweka kwa hizo magunia.
Joffrey Omega is a father of 4, but now only 3 are alive after he buried his third-born daughter, Mary. According to the court documents, this case was mentioned at an Eldoret court, but with the hearing slated for December 2021. But already, the family is alleging mischief in their investigations.
Kesi hii kushughulikiwa mpaka vile tena wamepata hii maneno ingine tena. Kesi wakizika mtu hapa Moyos Bridge, hiyo maneno inaendanga tu ninaisha hivyo. Wewe unabaki tu wewe mwenyewe tu na maneno yako. Hata ile mashahidi bado hata mpaka saa hii wajai kuja.
According to security experts, Moyos Bridge town has become difficult to police owing to its unique administrative dynamics. One part of it sits at the tail end of Uasin Gishu County, another at Trans Nzoia County border, while yet another is at the tail end of Kakamega County. Being a border town, it is sometimes considered partly to be a no man's land, which has been attributed to the rise in lawlessness.
Hakuna mwananchi atakuwa victimized kwa kutetea ukweli kwa sababu ya usalama ya hapa. Kwa sababu ya ile mauaji imefanyika hapa awali na sijapata majibu. Mimi nimeongea na mkubwa wa homicide kule Nairobi na wamesema watatuma maafisa kutoka Nairobi.
Demonstrations have been staged by a people that is unsettled, a people whose deep-set frustration is not easy to calm, a people that have progressively been losing trust in local administration officials.
Mimi nilisimama na miguu yangu nikasema siwezi enda serikali yote kufanya kesi na mtoto wangu kwa kaburi. Sina imani na serikali sababu hao mtu akishaingia ndani chamana bora ashatoa posa wanamtoa. Mbinu za kutumia ni mingi. Niliona serikali hainisaidii nikasema mwenyewe ndajisaidia.
Kama wangekuwa serious, Mary wangepata fingerprint siku hiyo tu. Hata ingechukua mwezi na tungekuwa tumeshika huyo mtu. Lakini vile mimi niliona hata wanisaidii ndio nikaenda nikawaambia mnirudishie manguo nirudishe nyumbani kwa sababu hamunisaidii, kwa sababu walipiga picha na hawajafanya hivyo. Na hata sambo ya Mary walichukua kwa mochari wakasema wanapeleka Kisumu. Sasa hata mimi nilifuatilia kuwauliza na sambo vile mlienda nayo Kisumu mjapata hiyo matokeo, wanasemanga tu bado.
Last year, residents of the Kakamega side of Moyos Bridge torched a police station in broad daylight in seeking to draw the national government's attention to the deteriorating situation at Moyos Bridge. However, the residents claim it ended at just that, a conflict between them and the police, while the real matters of lawlessness in the town were not addressed. NTV's efforts to get a response from the police in regard to the allegations bore no fruit, as the officers neither responded to our messages nor honored our invitations to respond.
Saa hii watoto wakienda shule tunawapeleka tena kwenda kuwachukua. Saa hii wakitoka shule wanakaa nyumbani. Huwezi kumtuma sukari kwa duka, huwezi kumtuma kwa senda aende, unashuku tu watamshika. Hata watoto wenyewe waliogopa.
The tears, the anger, the feeling of hopelessness, they paint a picture of when you put faces, names and voices to statistics. 9 murders later, the bereaved and aggrieved are openly expressing loss of trust in the law enforcement institutions and the systems at large, presenting a potential ticking time bomb, one which hopefully won't go off. Lois Wangoi, NTV, in the county of Uasin Gishu.
Families, they are disillusioned after seeking justice from the authorities and none was forthcoming. Thank you, Lois Wangoi, for bringing their plight to our attention. Hopefully now Moyos Bridge will no longer be what you referenced it as, a no man's land where injustice can take root. So we take a break, but NTV Weekend Edition will be back with the sports news. Ida Waringa will be here with the latest from the Safari Rally.
A very good evening to you. Hoping your weekend is going well in Naivasha, in Nairobi, or wherever you may be. And it's good news from Naivasha, where 3 Kenyans have finished day 2 of the WRC Safari Rally inside of the top 10. Now, Onkarai led the Kenyan drivers as Thierry Neuville retained the overall lead. Our reporter Watson Karuma has the details from where else? Basha.
The cars tackled the scenic Elementaita, Soisambu and Sleeping Warrior. Kenyan drivers were more consistent even as the WRC log remained unchanged. Onkarai was once again the top Kenyan driver ahead of Karan Patel and Carl Tundo. Other Kenyans, Akif Viran in 11th and Jeremy Wahome in 12th, followed closely behind. On the WRC competition, Ot Tanak may have won a leg, but his Hyundai teammate Thierry Neuville retained the overall lead going into the final day of action.
To be honest, I keep a good rhythm, but there were no big risks, to be honest. Nice clean run. I really enjoyed driving the stages, seeing some animals crossing the road as well, so a bit of action this morning, but in general it was a clean run.
No, the only target is to try to pass through the stages and to give some information to the other drivers after us, our team. Yeah, check the stones, check all, and just drive in the stage. We don't have any more target.
Well, I think this afternoon now it's about gaining experience, really. We're not in any huge fight with anybody, so the focus will not be to really try and find any incredible speed this afternoon, but to try and survive and look after the car.
FIA boss John Todd weighed in on the return of the Safari Rally, the WRC.
Very happy, very proud of what Kenya has been able to achieve, but bringing back Safari Rally with modern time, modern regulations, by respecting all the new measures, by being able to keep the flavor of Safari Rally with a format which is close to WRC.
Watson Karuma, NTV, Naivasha, Nakuru County.
Great, thank you for that, Watson. And it's definitely encouraging to see that this day was much better than day 1 of competitive action. To some football, and KCB failed to go top of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League, drawing 0-0 with Kakamega Homeboys at the ASK grounds to stay second on 43 points, 1 less than Tusker. Kakamega climbed to 9th with 27 from 20 matches. It was mixed fortunes for Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards as the defending champions lost 2-1 to 10-man Western Steamer, and Ingwe beat Wazito by a similar margin. Wazito's Michael Owino opened the scoring before AFC Leopards roared to life. Bienvenu Shaka equalizing before Elvis Rupia sealed the deal in the 90th minute. In the other result, Mathare United lost 2-1 to Poster Rangers to sink even deeper into that relegation zone, with the Slum Boys' fate seemingly sealed.
Mistake, but that thing happened,
And I told the player, guys, keep playing because it's our play style. So we kept playing. We had a lot of opportunities. They only have one, but we had a lot of opportunities. And even if we score at the end, it's totally deserved. Totally deserved.